Okay, we are live now.
Hi, guys. We are still waiting for Annette to
Yes.
join us.
We are your Charles Bridge folk. I'm Monica Perez. I'm the editor of Salt and Shore.
And I'm Donna. I'm at the marketing department.
Yes, yes. And Annette is joining us from the Netherlands, so we suspect that that is why there's a little bit of difficulty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share our jacket, see if I can do this so that everyone can see our full jacket for the book. We haven't even gotten our finished copies in yet, but let's see. Nope. Let's see. Is it sharing?
No, oh, there it is.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So. It looks so good.
So this is our final cover. We had gotten one review in to add to this cover, a great Kirkus review, but we didn't get our book list review, which was a starred review for this book. So we're really excited about that. And I would just sort of, I'll describe the book a little bit in case you haven't read a summary yet or read a galley. This book is about two children, one Lampy, who is a lighthouse keeper's daughter, and her mother has died, and she's been living with her father, who's an alcoholic. She's kind of taken on a lot of adult responsibilities at a very young age, and one of them is lighting the lighthouse lamp every night. And it's really not her fault when it doesn't happen one night and there's a shipwreck. And the shipwreck sets a series of events unfold after that that sort of see Lampy taken away from her father. And she's sent to live at this at the Admiral's house, and it's a very mysterious house that no one knows much about. And there she encounters another child who is essentially all alone as well. Even though he doesn't have a mother, he has a father, but the father is absent. So these children find each other, and they find each other at a time when they really, really need a friend. So, and then, but you know, one of the complications is that Lampy's new friend, whom she calls Fish, is a mermaid or a merman. So this is really a lovely story. It starts out so it just unfolds. It's wonderfully written. It's beautiful, and it feels so real. And for me, the lovely part about it was I didn't even understand it was going to be a fantasy. Like it turned into a fantasy so naturally that you completely believe. And that's really what hooked me. And this is why I knew that we had to publish this in the United States. So it has been published in other countries. In the Netherlands, I think it won every award that it could possibly win.
Yeah, best of and everything.
Exactly. And for a country that size, I mean, it's just sold tens of thousands of copies, and it's pretty amazing. And it's a debut novel, even though Annette is an illustrator and has published, you know, many, many, many books. This was her first book that she also wrote. And I think that when you read it, you just feel that it's a classic, right? It's one of those things that's classic in the making, and it's going to be around for a really long time. So that's what I love about it.
I just emailed with Annette, and I think we had a little time zone issue, and so she should be on her way here momentarily. Sorry about that. Counting is hard.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe Donna, what have been some of the things you've noticed, you know, people responding to so far?
You know, you mentioned Little Mermaid, and I think everybody is 100% on board. Actually, you mentioned mermaid, and everyone is 100% on board. Maybe are mermaids the new vampires? Is that what's happening?
Well, you know, I have seen a lot of mermaid stories. You are right, and especially yeah. I've seen, you know, what I've loved seeing is we've seen a lot of more diversity in our mermaids as well.
Yes.
So
yes. Yeah. Thank goodness, the jumblies. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I feel like is great about Salt and Shore, is that our mermaid is actually our merboy.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and okay, she's here, so you may
Oh,
have
great.
to let her in, Monica.
Okay, so I need to figure that out. Let me see. Okay.
Here we
I think I admitted everyone.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, we're just trying to find Annette. She says she's in. Oh, there she is.
Maybe she needs to, we need to like,
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes,
Annette,
we
we can
can
hear
hear
you.
Yes, my goodness, yes, I'm here. I can see you. You can see
Okay.
me.
Yes, we can see you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Sorry about that, Annette. It was probably me on my end. I'm sorry, I can't count.
There's so much going on all the time, and then I think when, and where, and what, and the time difference is also something. So
No, wonderful. Thank you
I'm
for
here.
joining us.
Yes, okay, of course.
And it's so nice to meet you.
Yes, very nice.
I know.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you
Hi.
sort of in person.
In person. I think it's really been one of the things that I've noticed in this time of COVID is that I'm actually getting to see my authors and agents face to face a lot more, and I never would have before. There's been people I've worked with for 10 years and I've never met them in person, and yet now we're actually seeing each other face to face.
Person on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Hi.
Hello. So I just did a little brief intro to the book, and you can see that I was sharing the jacket,
Yes,
the
I see
final
that.
jacket. And then I think, basically I would kind of like to sort of start by asking you what attracted you to this story, the idea of this story at first, because it is a riff on The Little Mermaid, right? So
Well, to be honest, the mermaid kind of came halfway. It's not. It's I really never wanted to write a book about mermaids. I don't even like mermaids a lot, especially. It's just that. Well, it's you want a long story?
Yeah, we do want the beginning, right?
Okay, the beginning was like this. I have been always wanting to be an author, as far as since I was a 10-year-old or something. But for a long time, I didn't really have the courage and the trust in myself to do that, to actually write for public. It took me a long time. I've been an illustrator. That was kind of easier. I got assignments and I did them. And underneath there was this kind of longing to tell a story, but I was just scared. And then I was scared of a lot of things. And when I was in my 40s, I finally, a bit late, I met a husband, and we had this child. And with him, he's a Canadian. We traveled through America and Canada for a long time, like 3 years, and that kind of opened up a lot for me. And on the last one of our last trips, I saw a lighthouse in somewhere near Lake Michigan. It wasn't even a pretty lighthouse, but I saw it, and then there was something saying to me, "You have better make a picture of that lighthouse because you are going to write a book about it." Well, and then I came home. And then after a few months, I had this idea about Lampi and the lighthouse, and it came really in images, because I think in images. And then, yeah, I followed it. And I was already halfway with writing. I had this boy under the bed, and he was frustrated, and he had something, I had a tale, I thought, and then I thought, The Little Mermaid. That's the beginning of this story. But I didn't know myself, so
Yeah.
that's the long version.
So I think that that's something that I do hear from other authors, that sometimes it just pops into their head, like there's the kernel of an idea, or a voice, even a character is so vivid right from the beginning, and
Yes.
yeah, exactly, which I feel like that must have been Lampy, like she's such a strong character.
Yeah, she came just like that.
Mhm.
She was there, and I kind of followed her. She was never thought much about Lampy, how she was. She just came.
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah.
And how did Fish develop? Was he as much fully formed at first, or did he take more work?
Yeah, it took a lot more work actually. Or I knew he was there, and I knew that he was kind of this a monster-like boy, and mostly that he was very mad at everybody, and he was very frustrated and very unhappy. But I couldn't get his voice right, so I wrote the whole beginning until they kind of meet, and I struggled a lot with the middle part, and then at some point I wrote the whole story, the ending, and then I did Fish and Lampy, and it was harder. I had to try out more things.
Right. And then when it came out, the book was published in Europe, in the
Yes.
Netherlands, and what was the reception there? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was amazing. I was so scared because I had so many thoughts that nobody will like. I like this story. It's kind of old-fashioned. It's kind of sad, and it's really, really not like most books that are published. I'm an illustrator, so I know children's books, and they're most of them are very different. This is more connected to the books I read myself when I was a child, like 40 years ago. So I was thinking, I think it will be old-fashioned, blah, blah, blah. But from the beginning, everybody, or almost everybody, really, liked it, loved it, and that was wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that just it's exactly what the appeal of this story is that it feels like one of those classic books that we all grew up with, and I think that's what people respond to, and even one of our reviews, that's there was a reference to The Secret Garden, that it has that feel. Yeah.
I was aware of that more than because I didn't think that so many people would, especially from the English-speaking countries, would actually read the book. So I thought, well, this is a book I like from my childhood, and I had been thinking also about Jane Eyre, but also about The Secret Garden, and she finds the boy, blah blah blah. But Lampy is not married. That's really different. So it is a different story.
It is a different story. I think it has some more modern sensibilities as well. And just Lampy, the relationship with her father, and also when we have our interesting circus characters who come in at the end as well, and sort of, that's also, it's funny because it is a kind of a classic thing, a circus, and yet I think the way that you treat those characters as like, actual people and with real issues, and we don't see them that long, but they really jump out of the page at you, and they speak to you in the same way that Lampy and Fish do, as being lonely and misfits and not finding a place, right? That's sort of what one of the themes, right? And so that to me is just something that that's also sort of a timeless thing, but it's also something that kids especially like relate to. So so
I would have.
Exactly. And I think that's and then when you have that and you wrap it all up in a tale of the sea and merfolk and pirates, then you have a lot of appealing things for the children as well. It's not just the adults who are reading this book and acting as gatekeepers. You have those people you appeal to, but you also appeal to the kids. There's so much there.
Yeah, I think good children's books are also interesting for adults. And that's what I was aiming for. Yeah.
Right. You're right. It just sort of like any show even or movie, right? I mean, there's
Yes, yes,
it has to
yeah,
be both for the adults and
yeah.
the child.
Yeah, for the adults and there, if they are still connected to the children, they were, and a lot of people are, it will speak to them, and
Mhm.
that is, I think, that's what I wanted to do.
So you wrote this book and it received all these awards, and then it was published in the UK, and in the UK it was nominated for the top children's prize there. It did well, and it's coming out, and people are really anticipating this in the US. So that's kind of, that's just absolutely evidence that these themes, like, cross borders. So I guess my question is, what do you have like next? Like, are you
Oh,
writing something?
yeah, well, that is the question. That has been the question already for, the book came out in 2017, so I should have written something else already. That's kind of how it works. And I haven't yet. Not well. I have written some few smaller things, and I'm very working on it's not a sequel, but I have in my mind there are gonna be, but that can also change. Gonna be 3 books that come from that world. So
Mhm.
some of the characters hopefully will be the same, but
Oh.
it's yeah, but not. It's not really about Lampy, or it's
Mhm.
not like, we'll
Mhm.
see. But I'm not sure. It's harder. It's a lot harder because
Oh, to write the second book, I hear that a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I thought it would be easier, but it's not. And it's the ideas are, there are lots of ideas, but they're not as strong and clear as they were in my first book. And now every time I write something, I think, yeah, this or that or something else, and that is the kind of, that's hard. And I had some, things going on, and the fact that Lampy is developing, and I get so many reactions. I wish I wasn't so, I didn't care about that, but I do care. And then I want, everybody who, I want a new book for them too, but then it has also, it's not working if I think it should be this and that, and everybody should be happy. That's not the way to write. So I have to kind of write maybe something that nobody will like. I don't know.
I think you have to write what you like,
Yeah.
obviously, and then go from there. But I would say that I've been hoping that there are more stories set in this world, because the world is you've done an amazing job of building it up, and there's so much more there, I think, to discover. So that would be my hope, is that
I would want nothing better than that.
Yeah.
Me too. But
Yeah.
let's see. I'll definitely need some more time.
Yeah. And what is your process? Do you start from the beginning, or
Never.
do you outline everything? Or you write
No,
in the
I
middle?
wish that would be so giving me so much peace. No, I have. I can't show you because I'm not in my studio, but I have a big piles of oh, I have one here. Books like this, and they're empty books, and I use them for diary, and I use them for sketching, and I use them for things that come up that are connected to the story, and that's kind of everything. So I have, I think, already 14 books like that, full with stuff, and sometimes I can, sometimes I can't even find back what I was. So I'm not very organized. That's part of it.
Well, I think I certainly work with people who do the same thing. They write what they write, and then they'll put it together later. So there's
Yes.
many ways
Something
to
like
do it.
Yeah.
Right. So we have some questions actually from our listeners. So there's some questions about the author-translator relationship, and there's a compliment that the translation is so beautiful, and it absolutely is. It is. It's stunning. And so that, I'm throwing it to you. Did you have a lot of interaction with the translator?
I see one something in Dutch. No, I did. I heard of Laura Watkinson. She's a translator. She's Dutch, British Dutch, and I was very proud that she would do it, because she did a few Dutch books in English for Pushkin that were my favorites as a child. So, and I know she did a wonderful job. And we did have some contact, but also not all the time and not about everything. There was some, there were some discussions about the title, because they're always, the title in Dutch is lampje, which means little light, lampie. That's how they decided to call it in Britain, but not at first. They didn't think that would work at all. So now you named the book Of Salt and Shore, and they also had a different title at first. I think it was Lucy Lamplighter or something like that. And it's the title I think is important, and we talked a lot, and I'm glad that they decided to go for Lampie as a name and as a title. Because I think that's what it should be, and not something else. Sorry.
So, it was you had a subtitle as well, though. The UK version had a subtitle.
Yeah, they kind of dragged that in because they didn't trust that this word Lampie alone would work.
Yeah, I think it's Lampie and the Children of the Sea.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a little bit of a long thing.
Yeah, and it's not actually true. As somebody said that once, it's not. It's a bit about mermaids, but it's not really about children of the sea or whatever. It's a book needs to be commercialized. I get that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think for us in our market, we definitely felt that we needed a little bit more information, and so the Salt and Shore. There is this tension in the book between the land and the sea.
That's right.
And there's tension all the way throughout the book between like characters and what the characters themselves want, and so that was kind of a nice juxtaposition, and we were looking for also sort of a classic sounding title as well.
I also like that you decided to have the undertitle of A Tale of Longing and Belonging. I really like that a lot. I use it now when people ask what the book is about. It's a good sentence, and
well, thank you. Yeah, we try to give with our covers. I did have the cover up earlier for people who joined later. I'm going to put it up again, I guess, so that people can see it. And it does have a reading line, and sometimes we feel it's just a little like push, and it just helps people understand what they're getting. Let's see if this works.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, it's not as beautiful as it's I think even more shiny in reality.
It absolutely will be. It's going to be beautiful when you hold the book in your hands, and we can't wait until that happens. It is printing as we speak.
Yes. Oh, great. That's nice.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good thing. Let's see. Go back to the chat. Let's see if there are other questions. Let's see. Oh, so there's just a comment here. It's interesting that you were thinking of Jane Eyre while writing.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I was.
I mean, I think I can feel that because it is a dark story in parts, especially the beginning. Yeah,
that's right. And I think people commented to me that the first, all the first chapters, nobody was nice to Lampie, to the girl, and some people have a hard time with that. I get that, and I know what's in store for her, and that it will be better. But as an illustrator, I do a lot of books they don't have that. They're kind of nice, and the children are nice, and their parents are nice, and school is good, and everybody's, and there's a little problem, and then everybody loves it. And I always wanted the dark as a child. I remember that. So I'm glad that other people do too, because it's a part of life. Yeah.
Right, it is, and I was always attracted to some of those stories which do start out that way. One of my favorites was Heidi, and
Yes, of course.
eh,
Yes,
yes,
longing.
yes,
Yeah.
very much so, very much so, and you know, Black Beauty was another one of those, and what is The Little Princess? I mean, these all have like
Yeah.
these characters, you know, in difficult circumstances. Um,
Yeah.
and yet they overcome them in some way,
They
and
don't want to be
yeah,
where they are, and
yes,
yeah, that's that's a story.
hmm, right, it's a story, and it's the reality, right, for a lot of children
Oh
too, right?
yes.
You
Oh
might
yes.
have this difficult circumstance, and yet there's hope, and I think that that's what this book does. Here's another question: what is particularly Dutch about Lampy's story?
It's hard for me to see that. Um, to be perfectly honest, for me, Lampy plays in a kind of America. It is
Hmm,
strange to tell that to you guys from
yes.
there, because again, I'm a Dutch illustrator. I've always, been living in the Dutch children's book world, which is quite full. It's there are lots of wonderful authors, and it was also for me a kind of a thing to find my place there, where it was already crowded and full, and everybody knew me, and I knew everybody. And then on my travels, because as you may know, America is really beautiful and vast and big and very, very, very different from the Netherlands, um, especially on the coast. That something opened up, and I thought this is so wide and strange and new for me. So that's where I, in my head, in my mind, set this story. It has a sheriff, it has dollars. It's also in the Dutch version, it has a sheriff and it has dollars. So I try to do it a little bit American like. Although everybody there says the book is, oh, it's so European. Well, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. So I don't know what's Dutch about it. Maybe in kind of a frankness, perhaps, that Lampy has. That I could think of something like that. That it's and it's not really too political correct, which. But I don't know. The communication in the world is at the moment. It's so everybody's so aware of everybody else
Right.
that I think sometimes things are more vague if something is American or Dutch or Canadian or European, and kind of it's blending in at the moment, I think.
I think you're right. I think there's this now. It's sort of, we have this world literature heritage, right, going on. It's not necessarily like, yes, of course there are influences and underpinnings in any book that you read, but that's the advantage of any book that comes out now, is that you can be influenced by anything, anyone, any writer, any tradition, right, that you've been exposed to.
Yes, and if somebody says that, I think that's exactly. Lampy is independent, frank, and the power of water. Well, yeah, that's true. That's Dutch, is the water and the sea, and my family. My father comes from a fisherman. His grandfather and my great grandfather. He died. It's at sea, so it's in my
Right. Right. Well,
history.
yeah, I live in Boston, and to me, it recalls absolutely like this northeast coast,
Right.
and
Yes, that's where I said it. That's also where I saw those beautiful lighthouses.
yeah, they're all over the place. It's
Yeah.
lovely. So, and I didn't grow up here, so to me, it is a nice setting. I love that. It's not old yet, so I like that part of it. I think it's, to me, there's another interesting thing that you said, and that was about the political correctness, and it was something that we sort of were very careful. It was
I
kind of, I
know.
don't know if people know, when you're editing something, you're like, oh, you're always like, oh, is this culturally insensitive? Are we going to offend someone? We're always, you know, and
stronger there than here, but it's coming here
it's
too.
something, and of course I think it's important and it's absolutely essential, but it also sometimes makes it very difficult when clearly a book is set in a historical period. And so then and obviously people would have different attitudes in, you know, in that time period if it's set 100 years in the past. So it's really hard to make a book sound authentic for the time period in which it's set, but also be aware of modern sensibilities. Yeah. So it's a very interesting thing to, you know, we're always aware of it, and we try to walk that line, and sometimes we don't walk it. Sometimes we're just too far on one side, and you know, but it's something that.
Well, there was this little thing that's not a very big thing. It was with the English translation. When Lampy curses, she curses quite bad. She says piss and bile and puke and things like that, but are, you know, not really offensive, but, you know, also not sweet children's words. And my British publisher, when they were in the business of translating it, they tried to change those words into kind of pirate curses, like blistering bollocks and stuff like that. And I read that and I thought, no, please, no, because that is kind of I think it draws it into a cartoonish world, where I think the real world of Lampy is kind of rude, but not made up rude. It's just, you know,
it's the way it is and was, and there's that authenticity that you have to maintain. I do believe that. Yes. Let's see. Let's see what we have here in the chat. I did not know August is women in translation. That's great. That's good to know.
Yeah, I think I've seen some things in Holland about this.
I mean, I have to say it is still not something that a lot of people do, is translate the longer works of fiction in this country. You know, I have to say that's something personally I want to see more of, and I hope that we're able to continue to do that. And
you have wonderful stories and you have wonderful books. So they told me when Lampy came out, and because my family-in-law lives in America and Canada, etc., that I really hoped that it would be translated in English, and they said don't count on it, because, you know, that's always hard, and the English have their own books, and they really, you know, they don't really like foreign books. So I'm still very proud that it is coming out in English.
No, I think that I don't know why. Clearly, there's so many worthy books that haven't been translated yet. So I think possibly that was a little bit of luck, but it was also, I'm sure, the fact that you did win some awards, and you know, I think it's difficult for U.S. editors who maybe don't speak that particular language to really trust that this is a book that they really want to publish and champion. So it requires an entire setup. You have to have readers who speak many different languages, and you trust their opinions in order to, you know, make that leap from, you know, just reading the summary and signing the book up. So you know, there's some infrastructure you need, there's some trust you need, but I do think it's really important. We need to hear, you know, voices from everywhere. So.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So that's like really great to know, and other people are excited, I think, for this book, because also I think it is a book in translation, which is great. Let's see.
Aren't you, as Charles Bridge, not doing many translated books?
We do a few. We maybe do more than other publishers do. We're a small independent press, so we are able to choose what we want to do. Right, exactly. Which is a good thing, right? I think we have made an effort to do more fiction, so more middle grade, more YA. because traditionally our house was more focused on the younger books, like the picture books. And so we've always published books from all over the world. And I think that that's a really important thing. And so we're trying to bring that desire over to the fiction side of things.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, no, it's good. Let's see. Oh, here's a question. Are there other books of yours that are available in the US?
No.
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 But I think you've illustrated how many you've.
Yes, I did.
So many, right?
Yeah, many. And they're not. No, they're not. I think they're also. They are very Dutch. and that, people have been telling me that. Well, you can look on my website. There you see some illustrations, and they are really, I guess, set in. Also, the books I've been illustrating, there are lots of books that are playing in schools, and that the Dutch school system is really different, and that doesn't really work in translation. And another very famous series in Holland that is for about girls that are coming in puberty, and it has all kinds of survival tips and how do I survive my life as an adolescent, and that was very big. But that was also, it was very Dutch, set in Holland, and so no, I maybe that's also brought me to try to write more often, not something that was set in a certain time in a certain culture. I try to go, a bit beyond that.
Yeah, that's the beauty of fantasy, I feel, right? Is that you have that freedom, and that does make those kinds of books a little bit more portable. But I think, I think anything that you do from here.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, I did a picture book.
Yes,
yes. That's, but it was very different. So it's. I don't think it didn't get translated yet. So more pressure on writing a wonderful new book. Yeah, I hope I will.
Yeah. I think so. Let's see. So we have a little message. If there are any last questions, ask them now, because I think we're coming to the end of our time slot. Let's see. Have you been doing online events recently, Annette?
Well, yeah, with in England mostly, and I'm gonna do them in one in Russia, one in Italy in the next month.
Wow!
For also the book, it's very funny to see everybody, all the countries, reacting differently to the book. It's really funny. It's I've been working. It's been translated in Germany. It's been quite successful, but reactions that are coming from Russia, they're so different than from other countries, and very Russian, very like the dark side of this book is so beautiful. And it's wonderful, actually.
I think that's
very funny too.
It's so true. My kids are half Russian, so I totally get that. Very cultural. So that's great. Oh, hi, Donna.
Hi, I'm back.
Hi, you're Donna. It says Anthony, but you're Donna.
Oh, I know. It says Anthony Burbank.
Just to the people who joined after the beginning, this is our marketing director at Charles.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much, Annette, and thank you so much, Monica. This discussion was so fascinating, and that everyone is looking so forward to this book. Including in-house. I mean, we've all read it, but we want that hardcover.
Yes, well, so do I.
Yes. Yeah. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Annette's going to be at SLJTeen Live later again today at the Young Teen program. So check the program for that link. It's in the auditorium, and that'll be a great discussion too with other authors. So please join us there. And we have more stuff going on in our booth today. So stay tuned.
Check us out. Well, Annette, it was lovely to speak with you.
Yes, very nice. Very nice to meet you, see you, and talk.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I hope we get to do it again. Okay.
Yes, that's fine. Anytime. Only, you know, I hope to be in time next time and to understand everything. Is, yeah, I will. Okay.
All right, that's great. Well, thanks everyone, and have a great day at your live events.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.